going to go through the agenda. So we're going to hear from Jill Durkin, which is our Cannock Chase Chamber President, Gavin Williamson, who is a Conservative MP for Southern Staffordshire, and Amanda Milling, who is a Conservative MP for Cannock Chase. So my name is Pam Wallace, and I'm a business advisor for the Cannock Chase Chamber and the South Staffordshire Growth Hub. My geographical area is Southern Staffordshire. So through the Growth Hub, we can support your business at any stage, any size, any sector. And we've supported over 10,000 businesses through the Chamber and the Growth Hub over the last 12 months during COVID. So please reach out to us. So with further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jill, who'd like to say a few words in introduction. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Pam. Well, good morning, everyone. And I'm sure everybody agrees it's a lovely morning and we've got a hot weekend ready ahead of us. It's really pleased to see that we've got Amanda and Gavin with us this morning. Last time we actually had Gavin and Amanda together at Cannock Chase Chamber was actually at Acton Trussell, and with a nice afternoon to and a sunny afternoon. So I'm sure we'll get back to those soon. But we're really looking forward to hearing about all the local issues and all the positive that's going around. We know there's a lot happening in Cannock Chase. There's a lot happened. There's a lot more planned across the South Staffs area regarding skills, employment and housing. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Gavin Williamson, who's going to speak with us first, followed then by Amanda.
So Jill, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you to everyone that sort of joined us. Jill, you were right to say there is so much going on, not just in Cannock Chase and but right across South Staffordshire, but also so nationally as well. But if we think about some of the things that have been happening, I mean, we continue to see some development of some sort of pretty major employment sites in sort of South Staffordshire. You're seeing the extension of the I-54 business park. We're also seeing, you've seen the continued expansion, around Four Ashes as well. But it's all well and good doing development, but if we haven't got the sort of skills that can sort of back it up, it doesn't really actually go very far. And I think as we come out of a pandemic, I think lots of businesses are facing some pretty significant challenges. And one of the biggest challenges is on skills. Quite understandably, when we went into the pandemic with so much uncertainty, people quite rightly were having to look at some of the challenges about how they minimize their cost base and able to sort of preserve themselves into the future. But as we come out of a pandemic, I think, whether it is in leisure, whether it is, in digital, there are so many different areas where people are seeing a real HGV drivers as well as another, and there are sort of many where actually people are seeing a real sort of squeeze in terms of a sort of labour force, and actually having, not that they haven't got people applying for jobs, but they haven't got the people with the right skills and the right opportunity to be able to do this. So actually from a national perspective, we're doing everything we can do to actually look at sort of creating the incentives for business to be able to recruit, whether it's apprentices, whether it is getting people to start picking up some of the basic skills that they need. And I sort of use the example of boot camps. We've actually changed the whole welfare system for people to be able to take these courses it's let's say the electrician's course, which is a 16-week course, and they're able to claim benefits throughout that. But actually what so many businesses are saying is, of course, they've got those basic core skills, so they're not training them up from scratch when they come into the business. We've also launched the lifetime skills guarantee. So actually not everyone is in the fortunate position of where they maybe get all the qualifications they need at 18, 19, 20, but go back to it later on in life, getting an A-level equivalent qualification. So we're looking very broadly about how we actually put the sort of right skills products in place, not just to help those individuals, but also key to help businesses, because there's no point in skilling people up if they're not going to be able to then access work. We've also got the we've also got the post 16 and skills bill that's currently going through the House of Lords. And again, it's really about reshaping our whole post 16 education sector, putting a much greater emphasis on skills and technical and vocational qualifications, as against sometimes what has been the case, a sort of a subconscious bias towards pushing people more and more towards university qualification, classic 3-year bachelor's degrees, which may be not always the best route with the best outcomes for all young people, though obviously are incredibly important and incredibly successful for so many young people. So there's an awful lot going on. I certainly very much hope that South Staffordshire is a beneficiary of it, sort of education-wise. Amanda and I have been fortunate. We're sort of building a new free school in Cannock Chase, and we're rebuilding a school in South Staffordshire, and also putting a new free school in Wolverhampton, and another rebuild in Wolverhampton as well. So there's an awful lot going on in terms of the education field and the sort of skills field. I'm very conscious that actually questions and such like are more interesting and more exciting than listening to me speak at length. And I know Amanda also has tons to say. So I best at that point pause and hand the baton to Amanda.
Gavin, we've just got one quick question come in. If you can just address this for me, it's from Ward. And it says, can we keep face masks and bubbles in schools until we have a better handle on the infection rates? Wearing a face mask will not harm, but the alternative is not worth the risk. Yeah. If you can just reply back for me.
So obviously we continue to take the very best advice available. And actually, it probably won't surprise you is that I don't sit down and sort of decide as to what are the safety measures that we will have in place. We obviously listen to the likes of Chris Whitty, Patrick Ballance, Jenny Harris, who give us that advice. Their advice is, and we lifted the need to have face masks in classrooms. I think that was the right sort of move. I think it makes it a lot easier for both teachers, wider staff, but most importantly pupils as well. But we obviously we're guided by we're very much guided by the science here. You've probably seen the latest guidance that we've issued, but we constantly keep that under review. And but review the advice will come from PHE, PHE Public Health England, as well as the likes of Chris and Jenny and Patrick. So I'm more of a sort of a listening mode as against anything else, and we just keep that constantly under review.
That's lovely. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you. Does anybody have any more questions for Gavin? No, it looks like you've got away with it, Gavin, this morning.
Oh, blimey. I was expecting many more. Well, I'll hold on the line just to see if there's a... Sorry, go on. So I was just going to say, I'll hang on here just in case anyone has anything that they particularly want, but I best let Amanda speak.
Well, we've just got one from Colleen that's come in. So question for Gavin: school experiences are fundamental to future prospects of individuals. What is being done to make showmen's children receive an equitable experience regardless of where or how we live, especially as support for showmen have been removed over the past years?
So the key thing is to make sure that everyone has an incredibly excellent education wherever they live in the country. I mean, Colleen, you're right to highlight the fact that actually sort of mobility and moving around different areas, I think, puts real challenges in terms of delivery of education. And there is a real benefit for having sort of continuity in terms of education. We always look at how we actually sort of make sure that we get the sort of right provision, but the best way we can do is sort of making sure that we have the very highest standards of education in every single school right around the country. I'm not familiar with the additional provisions that were there before, but Colleen, if you want to write to me, you know, or drop me an email over sort of anything that you sort of feel has sort of changed in a negative way,